Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. I'm currently away from the CRX this week, and my garage here is probably over 100 degrees still. So I brought a part from the CRX here to work on indoors. So let me turn you around and show you what we're working with. So this is my power folding mirror from the CRX, and the electronics and everything work, but when I hit the button, I could tell there's a gear or something that is stripped out and it does not fold back and forth. So my goal today is to tear into this thing and see if I can repair it with 3D printing. Alright, bear with me. I don't exactly know how this thing comes apart, but I know there's some screws on the bottom, so I'll just start there. Might need to come off. And there's a little tab that's holding in the harness right here. Making a mess of my desktop, but beats working in the garage right now. Well, that's out of the way. I've unlocked another screw. Okay, after looking at it more, I think I might be able to just get to this screw. I think we'll have to recover that screw later. I see another screw down in this hole. And that was a great success. All right, now we are getting closer. Turn this thing around so you can see inside. I think I'm just gonna start removing all the screws. Hopefully get to that plug so I can remove the lens altogether and put that aside. Wish my screwdriver was magnetic, that would help. Now if your screwdriver isn't magnetic or it loses magnetization, they make a tool that you kind of slide over the shaft of the screwdriver, or what I find useful as well, if you just have some magnets laying around, you can just kind of rub them against it, and then now you'll have a magnetic tip. That helps us out a little bit. Alright, I already see some broken bits in here. Not sure which parts of them are actual functional. So it looks like I can now remove the cover. From here it looks like some old tape, a couple extra screws. Got the cover removed and found this small piece that looks like it broke off somewhere. Hopefully, maybe we can just reattach that with super glue. This piece goes right here, so that can be repaired with super glue, no problem. And now we are in it. This plug is giving me the hardest of times. Just, I guess everything's got to come through. Now we're just down to the guts. Okay, I'm clearly wasting my time trying to get that plug. I'll take this screw off, so this can be moved out of the way. We'll go to these two screws. Sorry, I keep blocking the camera. Everything is very crusty. I should have put down a towel. Alright, I was finally able to use this little pick tool to finally depress this to get the lens off. Helps me maneuver this thing a little bit more. I think now I'm going to try to clean up my mess here. Before I clean up, I decided to depin these connectors. Get you a little closer. So inside here, there's a little plastic tab. And so you're going to push the wire in with a little tool, lift that tab up, and you should be able to pull that connector out. So push these in. Little tab. That one. Always make sure you take pictures of where the wires go before you depin them. Now we can remove this boot, remove the bracket. We just have the motor. Now to clean up the mess. Alright, with this thing apart, I can see kind of better how it works now. You have contact points inside here that run along this gear. That gives power to this gear. You screw it together to make sure the smaller gear is in line and meshes. There we go. This thing is all sticky. Throw these screws back on to hold it in place to make sure there's enough contact. I have this battery here. There's the positive and the negative. Makes noise, but doesn't sound like anything's moving. I think the next step is to pull off this cover and see what's moving in there, or what isn't moving in there. I don't know what this sticky, gooey stuff is, but I'm over it. I'm going to lay down that rag so I don't get any of that residue on my desk pad. Okay, we've gotten somewhere. We can see what has failed. This little gear. There's the rest of it. I don't know if it'll focus. Alright. So now, do I try to design one and 3D print it, or just try to glue this one back together? Alright, so I've decided to go ahead and try to 3D model and print out a new worm gear. First step would be to use a caliper, and I'll be needing this dimension here. I'm getting 2 millimeters. Alright, next for this piece, the outer part of the thread, I'll call that 7 millimeters. There is an inner lip, 5 millimeters. Alright, and here's the worm gear that I designed in Fusion. Now I'll be opening my Bamboo Lab software, and here's my little gear. So from here, I'm going to go with a 0.12 layer height. I'm going to be printing the first one in just PLA. Alright, in 11 minutes and 30 seconds, we'll have our first part. only been a couple seconds for you, but it's been a couple days for me. So I am back here working on this worm gear for the Honda mirror. So let me catch you guys up on what I've been working on. All right, so here's my maybe third rendition of this worm gear. I realized the thread patterns that Fusion had by default didn't match what I needed, so this ended up being a M7 by 1.5. So I had to create my own thread with the coil program. All right, and here's the gear fitted. The mesh is about perfect. I've already tested the motor. It spun this gear, but this gear is spinning on this shaft. I got some 5-minute epoxy. I'll be epoxying the new worm gear on, and I'll do this gear while I'm at it. Now that I know that this design in PLA works, I'll be printing it in this PA6 GF, which is glass fiber infused nylon. So it'll withstand higher temperatures, higher pressure, less brittle. It should hold up a lot better. So I'll print it with this more expensive, higher grade material. Brought this project out to the garage because I'll be making a little bit of a mess here. What I'll be doing is cleaning up both of these shafts, roughening them up a bit with the Dremel, and I'm thinking about removing a little slot of material to just kind of give that epoxy a little bit more to adhere to. Now I'll be cleaning this up and getting it ready for the epoxy. Now I have both these shafts cleaned up with isopropyl alcohol. I was able to use the Dremel tool to roughen up the surface of both the shafts, and then tried my best with the disc to kind of grind a little groove, or just like a little flat spot for those gears to kind of bite onto with that epoxy. So now all I have left to do is mix up some of this 5-minute epoxy, get these glued on, and let it cure. Alright, it should be pretty thoroughly mixed at this time. It is pretty warm in here, so it might set up a little bit faster. So I'm going to start applying a little bit to these shafts. So I'll be placing the worm gear first, so I can line up the mesh for this gear after. This one has a tiny bit of crack. I don't know if you'll be able to tell. Try to put some on the outside of this where the crack is to kind of help bond that. Make sure none of this gets inside the motor. That won't help. And I'm just going to slide this down until it gets to about the center of that worm gear. Alright, now we just wait for the cure, and then be back here in 1 hour, and we can plug this thing in and see if it'll turn under its own power. Alright, so it's been a little over an hour. Now it's time to test and see if this is actually going to work. So I have a 12-volt power source right here. Gonna connect the leads. But I reversed the polarity and it folded back. So we are good to go. I think that fixed it. Show you guys this view right here. This is gonna be open. Or I guess that was folded and open. All right, awesome. All right, and that's a wrap for this video. I'll be back with the CRX in the next video to duplicate this process with the other mirror and hopefully dive into the electrical problem, keeping that thing from running, hopefully finally take that thing for a test drive. If you want to continue following my progress with the CRX and the Mazda, please subscribe. And if you have any comments, questions, advice, I'm here to learn from all of you as well. So hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Next video, I'll be back with the CRX.